This episode of Pit Pass is brought to you by MarineEngine.com and Photo54. Join us for another day on the water with the quickest competition boats anywhere. The power, the speed, the excitement that is USF1 Powerboat Racing. This is your Pit Pass.
Welcome to round number 2 of the 2014 U.S. Formula One Powerboat Racing Tours Championship. Today, for the 27th year, we are at Bay City for the River Roar. This race site is very unique. Walls on both sides of the Saginaw River, racing between two bridges. Tens of thousands of fans will be here today. And the question remains, can Terry Rinker continue on his winning streak for 2014? Or will Tim Sebold win for the 10th time for the Sebold family and win for the 5th time here in Bay City? He looked awful strong in day number 1. But will the NGK team be up for the task of stopping Terry Rinker and the Amsoil assault? Well, here he is, the defending champion here in Bay City, Tim Sebold. And Tim, your rivalry with Terry Rinker. Now, we look back on the record books, new math, it's been 6 times since the two of you guys have raced first or second place. You've won 3 races, and he's finished second 3 times. He's won 3 races, and you've finished second 3 times. Great rivalry.
It sure is, you know. They come every weekend to run up front. They're always prepared. They come to Bay City. They know the Saginaw River. They know what it takes to win, and so do we. So the NGK boat, we put it together so that we can get over the rough water, and it's not always the fastest boat that wins here in Bay City.
Yeah, it's kind of a special place. I mean, you and Terry have won more than anybody else here 4 different times. Your brother Michael has won here before, too, multiple times, but your father never won here, which is kind of strange.
You know, that just shows how difficult this race is. My dad won races all over the world, and this one he was never able to capture. So that just proves how hard and difficult, not only of a race, but the Saginaw River is on you.
All right, the keys to success for you, what does it take to win this race?
Well, just like any race, it takes a good qualifying effort. You want to have a good position on the dock, but really to me in any of these races, the reverse order heat is very important, how you get through traffic, and then set your boat up for rough water. You've got to be able to get over the rough water.
All right, best of luck this weekend for maybe number 5. You can fill a handful of victories here at Bay City. Have fun today.
Well, thank you.
Terry Rinker, the 6-time national champion, has had all sorts of different rivalries in the many years that he's been racing on the tour, but one in particular seems to be haunting him. He and Tim Sebold keep battling year after year. Now, you guys have won this race here in Bay City 6 of the last 9 years, and 5 different times you guys were either first or second.
Yeah, it's been a great run with Tim up here in Bay City. We're always neck and neck. The first time I raced up here in a big boat, SSB 140, Timmy was leading the race, and I ended up crashing into turn after a restart. But as far as the series goes and the race here in Bay City, he's always been there, just a fierce competitor, and one that I like to race against.
And of course, what a great rivalry you guys had in LaPorte just a couple of weeks ago. It came to the very last lap.
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, we were struggling with a broken prop, and then I think unfortunately Timmy had the same problem later in the race. Well, I was able to hang on and stay close enough and get him on that last lap, and it was just an incredible finish. And once again, this is the way Timmy and I have always been, back and forth.
You've had some crazy memories, good and bad here.
Yeah, I've had some mishaps here in Bay City. I tried to visit the restaurant across the river once during the race. Fortunately, I didn't get all the way up there and visit it, but landed in the water next to it after hitting the pier. And I think they've still got some souvenirs from my boat over there at that restaurant.
Yeah, I think they have the Terry Rinker crash and burn drink that you can order for a cheap price.
Yeah, they probably do. They probably serve them every time I go by. They get somebody ordering one up.
Yeah. Terry Rinker's still smiling, and why not? This guy has won this race 4 different times. Only he and Tim Seabold have won that many times here in Bay City. He's looking to see if he can do it again this weekend. Let's see what happens.
Say what?
Hello there, welcome to Bay City River War. You're in for a hell of a good race this weekend, and may Timmy and Terry tangle with each other so I can win some for a change.
And Tammy,
Come on, chime in.
Well, oh, maybe it's running good. It's just, thank you, Margaret. You're awesome.
Well, the trials and tribulations of Formula One, things don't always go as planned, but I'll tell you something, despite all the problems that the Welshes have, just getting here, father and son. Let's talk to Tyler first of all, here in Bay City. Tyler, let's rewind the clock a little bit. Tell me a little bit about Laporte. First of all, how's the boat after the incident?
The boat is still as it was when we left. It just kind of got rolled out of the trailer and we started working on another project. We did some work on Dad's boat to get it ready for Bay City. Then we pulled this boat out and started getting this one ready.
Well, this boat is quite a history.
Yes, it does. This is Dad's old 94 Burgess. I think it's one of only 4 Burgesses in the country.
And for you today, of course, just getting here, you guys had another struggle.
Yeah, we had a little bit of road trouble on the way. We didn't leave quite as early as we wanted to, getting everything loaded and packed. And about, I think we were in Illinois, we had a tire blowout on the trailer. So that took away some more road time. So we didn't get here as early as we wanted to.
All right, so it's race day today, and you haven't had a chance to get out on the water. What do you think of Bay City?
It's a great venue. The water is a challenge. There's a reason they say when you leave that you survive the Saginaw.
All right, well, we wish you all the best of luck today. Have a lot of fun, and maybe we can get the father-son combination up in the top 5 today when it's all over. It's going to be a wild day.
I know we'd both enjoy that.
Coming up next on Pit Pass, Stephen J. Michaels speaks with some of our friends from the Great White North down here in Bay City to run the River Roar.
Yes, the winter is over in Canada. The boys from the Great White North are here racing. This truly an international circuit, North American Series, and Mark Major proves why the Canadian tradition here is so strong. Mark, it goes back about 25 years ago, and I'm not singing the praises. You guys really know about powerboat racing in Canada.
You know what, it's true. Powerboat racing, I believe, is a family thing. You know, family's what gets you into it. And I was fortunate when I was younger, my family was into it. And, you know, we go back to some of the days of Ole Burkus and Mark Rothamel. And those are the people that I grew up around and are very good friends with Mark Rothamel still today. So, yeah, powerboat racing in Canada has been around a long time, and it's starting to come back a little bit, which is really nice.
Yeah, and it's not just the huge menagerie of people racing in southern Ontario and western Ontario, but actually out west, too, out in British Columbia and Saskatoon and that area in Alberta.
Yeah, it is. It's, you know, in our first race in Laporte, we've had, you know, a gentleman from BC, and, you know, we're going out to Seattle, so you'll see some of them enjoying that event. And yeah, everybody's trying to do the travels and get this sport to grow with boat counts, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to have this banter back and forth, Canadian-American pride and all this kind of fun stuff. That just plays into it. It's a lot of great times.
You know, it's a lot of fun, and I think back to some of the drivers where we've had, you know, some of our big Canadian hats, and they'll wear them. We've been wearing their U.S. stuff, and you know, we're a big family here, and the Canadian-U.S. thing's always a good battle, and it makes it, you know, it's part of the fun. We love it.
And you got a great mentor in Ted Greguch. I mean, he's won not only here in Bay City 25 years ago, but he's a very good technician, isn't he?
You know what, Ted is, since I got to Formula One, he's been with me every race, and I've never raced without Ted. And I just took a 7-year break from racing, and when Ted and I talked about getting back in, it was simple. I'm not going if you're not going. So Ted is a very good mentor because he's raced, he can understand the boat, But what I love about him more than anything is we had an issue already this weekend, and I've never met a man that can diagnose a problem as fast as him. I mean, he just blows my mind. So that's what you need.
And of course, if there is a weak link on the Canadian chain, it may come from the other co-owner, Don Jenkinson, who's actually from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we'll say that because Don's a U.S. guy.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Don Jenkinson and his company, Jenkinson Telecom, and Ted, and his company, Speedmaster Marine, is the reason why we're here. You know, the two of them joined forces. As you know, this sport takes some money. And, you know, Don Jenkinson raced for a long time. My first season, I actually raced against Don with a 2-liter motor, and that was kind of cool. We can still talk about that we've gone back and actually raced together. So between those two guys and the years of history they have in this sport, it's just, for me, I'm very fortunate with that.
All right, keep an eye on this Rosso rocket, this red rocket for Mark Major. He knows what it takes to get to the top 5s in here. He's been in the top 5s in the past in Bay City. 2-time national speed champion. Let's see if he can use that speed this weekend and reach the podium. Another Canadian driver who looks at getting sponsorship as a #1 priority and then taking care of business is Tammy Wolf. And Tammy, I'll tell you something, very impressive the packaging you've been able to put together. I know it's been a long time that you've been racing, but now on this level in Formula One, it's really something special.
You know what? It's great. I mean, we've been racing for 20 years. We've made a mark of ourselves. And Mercury Marine Canada hopped on board and saw the potential with our boat, the potential with our program, and they are extremely impressed with the PR that we're getting from this series in Formula One and Formula 2.
You know, in the old days, you just slap the name on the side of the cowling and then just go, okay, we're going racing, and that's the end of it. But today, you have to do so much more for a sponsor, don't you?
We do. We do shows, events, PR opportunities. We also do charity events, breast cancer research. You also need your Facebook, your social media sites. So there's a lot of things that we do when we're not racing to impress the sponsors, to impress Mercury Marine. And you know what? They are so impressed with what we're doing here in F1 Prop that they've invested now in the race series in Canada.
That's fantastic as they spread the word out, of course. I know that Mercury Canada is very strong in the east. You're from Ontario, but also there's a lot of strength and following of this sport out west in BC and Alberta.
It is. This sport is growing. We now have another driver, Formula One driver, so we have 3 Formula One drivers in Canada, and we're going to multiply next year because there's a little secret out there, but somebody else is coming on board.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And of course, women in racing, it's still rare, but you see it as we've got women all over the world racing. As a matter of fact, you raced in France a couple of years ago with an all-women team.
Pink boat again, of course, because that's the dominating factor. Once you're pink out there, you know, everybody's watching us. We got 4th in our class, 9th overall, beating some of the Formula One teams in our smaller Optimax motor. But, I mean, women can do anything in this sport. We had 2nd at the World Championships last year, 3rd at the U.S. National Championships, and 2nd in the series. You have to be professional, you have to dominate, you have to be strong, we can do anything.
Tammy Wolf, truly professional, truly Canadian, and truly locked in with a great sponsor, Mercury of Canada. Of course, Tammy Wolf, not only a #1 professional as a driver, but also as a sponsor and one who represents Mercury of Canada. Best of luck for the rest of the race here in Bay City and for the rest of the year.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. And I want to give you a present because I know you're dying for these Tammy Wolf autograph cards.
Thank you.
And you can get yours on Tammy Wolf Racing's Facebook page.
Always pretty in pink. It'll be faster and faster.
So is this your new side business? Food delivery?
Exactly. If
Yeah.
you keep the officials happy and the announcers happy, they're bound to say good things about you.
What
if
a
it wasn't,
smart man.
If it wasn't for Susie, his lovely wife, I don't know how I could get through the day talking. And you know what? A lot of people are going to try to make her quit making sandwiches for me because a lot of people wish I wouldn't talk.
But it's peanut butter and jelly, and it's a lot of peanut butter, so he may not be able to talk for a while.
God, that's good. And so is he as a driver.
Brent Dillard, fast F2 driver, has got an F1 boat for next year. Stephen J. Michael talks with him next.
One of the most dynamic Formula 2 drivers anywhere in the world, Brett Dillard, is joining us because he's coming over to Formula 1 next year. Driver of the future. Fantastic. Now, you've done something different than a lot of drivers do. You picked up a very unusual boat.
Oh yeah, we picked up a DAC from the F1 China team, and we just can't wait to get it here. It's in France right now, and we got Peters and May working on the shipping, so I think it'll be here in about 3 months, and I'm just excited, and I can't wait to be able to drive one of those boats.
Yeah, I know a little bit about the history of the boat. Pierre Lundin drove it in 2009, and it also ran the last couple of years with Liu Zhuang, the Chinese driver. Made him look good. It should make you look good too.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put about 200 laps in it. We got Brendan Powers coaching us all the way through the way. We got him building our motors, and I got Bill Rucker as a crew chief, and also got my parents supporting this, and we just can't wait. But we're gonna take our time, and we're gonna put a lot of laps on the boat before we bring it to a race. And we want to just be prepared and consistent. We want to finish every race next year. We're not looking to run out front or run with those big top 3. We have a lot of respect for them, and I haven't put the time in yet, so that's what we're going to concentrate on, is putting the time and the work into the boat and learning how to drive it and become the best driver I can, and then maybe down the future we'll compete up front.
Now you've run the SST 60 times, enough to where you've won the championship 3 different times. You're the defending Formula 2 champion, and now you step up. Why now? Why Formula 1?
Actually, we were looking for a 200 boat with an Opti on it because we had the 120, and that's what we were looking for at the time. And Brendan Powers called us and told us about a great deal with the F1 China team. They were selling their DAC because they're moving to the Moore boat. So we jumped on it as soon as we could, with the understanding that it's going to take time to go from the 120 to Formula 1. I'm not going to be able to just jump in this boat, even though it's a great boat. Not going to be able to just jump into it and go to a race. We're going to have to put the time into it. So we made that decision as a team, and I told my wife, and she loves it, so got her permission, so we're good to go.
Got to have the permission from the wife always. Brett Dillard, name and driver of the future here on the Formula 1 Tour. Next year we expect to see him with this very exotic Italian-built boat. We'll see how the DAC does. And the good news is for Brett is it's made out of carbon fiber, so if he blows it over, guess what? You can dry it off and take it back out in the next heat. Best of luck, Brett.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Kelvin from the Bay City Krogers here to support us once again. It's a wonderful thing. It's fantastic. Go Kroger!
Chris Fairchild has finished on the podium 4 of the last 7 years here in Bay City. Tell you what, you've come very close. Can this be the weekend you think to break through?
Any weekend is the weekend to break through. We won this race both in F2 and in F1, but it's been a dry spell for F1. The boat tested really good yesterday. The river was a little more treacherous than it has been in years past. The water's up probably 2 feet from where it normally is. High current means a little bit rougher water surface, so it'll be challenging. And then we've got a lot of boats that are not quite on the pace that the lead boats are. Timmy and Terry are always tough. It never seems to fail that I can win testing on Friday, but I can't seem to put it together on Sunday.
2 big corners here in Bay City, very narrow. You got walls on both sides, but more importantly, a lot different than LaPorte, the back markers can't disappear. You're going to have to figure your way around it this time.
This is actually a little bit better than LaPorte, except for no width in the course.
Okay.
The righty is hard for a back marker to go wide and get out of the way. So I would assume the back markers will run wide on the corners and try to stay out of the way. But you just, they're back markers and they're out there, they're supposed to race. They're supposed to race hard if they're racing for position. So you really, this race is all about understanding who you're racing, where they're at, who they're racing so that you can get through.
Right now, the trouble spots with the weather hasn't built up yet, but people do talk about there are some trouble spots here if the wind is blowing on this course.
If the wind is blowing crossways, the backstretch has got some very big buildings, 3- or 4-story buildings, and there's holes in those 3- or 4-story buildings, and it makes a funnel. It's, it's not like a tornado vertically, but it's kind of like that horizontally, where the wind will howl through those buildings, and you'll be cruising along feeling like you're a man, and the boat will puff off the water, and
Chris Fairchild, he won a big heat race at LaPorte. He started second off the dock, got caught up in a mix, but this time around, this could be his day. Keep an eye on this guy from Illinois. He's going to do a great job this weekend. Best of luck.
Thanks, Steve. Got to thank Bay City for having us here. This town has been embracing us for 27 years, and I've been here for 25 of them. It's one of my most favorite races we've ever run.
And I was here for the first one.
Wow, do we have a walker for him or what?
Thanks, dude. Good job, buddy. Thanks.
Coming up next on the Inside Lane, Stephen J. Michael talks with Mark Major about a little power steering problem.
Day one today, S is testing, and already there's some problems. Mark Major, tell us what exactly you went through this morning. It was quite a thrill.
Well, you know, these boats have power steering now. Years ago we didn't have that, which is a real luxury for us because there's a lot of torque with these motors. And as soon as I went out the first straightaway, I had no power steering. So lots of workout on these things.
Yeah.
But
show us a little bit about what you're talking about here.
inside here on the steering hub, there's a piece of equipment that takes the torque out of the wheel when you turn on the power steering. So it's very stiff when the switch is turned off. As soon as you turn it on, it's just like your car, very nice and easy moving. So as soon as I started going down the straightaway, it was very stiff, and you know, there's no help from it. So inside here, to the back where the actual fan motors are that runs it's like the computer system of it, there was a broken wire. So my guys that are incredible at diagnosing, Andrew DeBooch right here, you can see him with his computer. They've been working at it, and that's what they use this equipment for now. All of this type of stuff is all hooked up to a computer, and unfortunately we had a little issue, but they fixed it, and I'm excited. We're going out for another test session in about a half an hour, and let's see what we can do. So we had to go back to some old techniques without it. We put on some bungee cords, and it helped a little bit, but I'm kind of glad we're going to have that power steering back.
Yeah, old days, by the way. Mark Major's talking about 30-some years ago, back in the early 80s when they were running this. Drivers weren't having that same luxury of having power steering. Back then they had big, strong arms like Bill Siebold and Case Vandervelde and these kind of guys. You can see here by Mark Major, he needs to work on it a little bit more.
I'll tell you, they got to work out today. When I got out there, my first race in Bay City in 2002, I didn't have power steering, and I'll tell you, it was a reminder today to see what we actually went through. So I'm going to be very happy in that second session to have it back. It's really good.
17 drivers from throughout North America are ready to take up the challenge. We're set for racing. Let's go to the action here on the Saginaw River. He's a true professional. Ladies and gentlemen, four-time winner, finishing third today from Osage Beach, Missouri, Tim Siebold. MGK Spark Plug Average. Congratulations. Great day for you.
Thank you. I just want to thank my team, the NGK team, for all their hard work this weekend. And I want to congratulate Chris and Terry for a great job out there. And I always like to thank the Bay City River Roar because they do a fantastic job. This is a premier event in the U.S. and I appreciate you having us.
It was a tough day for you today out there. You took the buoy out. You knew you had to dig down deep, and you did.
Yeah, once we hit the buoy, it was an uphill climb. Didn't want to do anything stupid at that point because I knew I couldn't catch those guys, but just tried to unlap ourselves from the other guys, and fortunately we were able to do it.
Congratulations, another podium, my friend, here in Bay City. Great job today.
Thank you very much.
Tim Sebold, ladies and gentlemen, third place. For the 5th time in 8 years on the podium, finishing just a few seconds back in a great two-way battle for this championship win today. Let's bring him up here from Paw Paw, Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, the good, the likable, the very talented
Bay City.
No, thank you so much.
Chris, come on over here for television. I'll tell you what, for you it was, well, I'll tell you what, you were strong today all day long. It was really a toss-up. Who's going to win after 35 laps? You came so close.
You know, I was kind of hoping that heavy wind this morning would keep up because I like that big white cap in water. We did good today. We were a little rich on the box, and we had a couple of glitches. My canopy kept trying to fall off, so, you know, Terry's always well prepared. Timmy's all well prepared. You know, I think he kind of let me have second. I don't know why. You feeling sorry for me or something? I got to send a big congratulations out to each and every one of the F1 guys to have a field so diverse in their talents and so diverse in their experience not to wreck. Holy smokes, all you boys give yourselves a round of applause for finishing that one, huh?
Changing at the time, and it was just like hang on and get home.
We were good. There was no hang on and get home. We kept hounding him. Every once in a while I could see his boat get out of shape out in front of me, and oh, that's what I need. You know, but we got close, but we could never get there. You know, Terry's always strong.
Congratulations, second place, ladies and gentlemen, on a true champion. Chris Fairchild, nice job today. You made it to the silver medal on the ceremony.
I got to send a big thanks out to Kroger's. Kroger's makes it okay and makes it possible for us to be here in Bay City. Everybody who lives in Bay City, go see Calvin at Kroger's.
All right, there you go. Chris Fairchild, ladies and gentlemen, second place. A man who is tied, yes, a man who is tied for the most victories here in Bay City, a driver who has now won 5 times, and one driver who has won for the 2nd time in 3 years. Your 3-time defending national champion, 2 wins in a row. Ladies and gentlemen, from Tampa, Florida, AMSOIL sponsor, put your hands together for Terry Rinker, your champion here in Congratulations. You can grab the award if you like. I'm going to make you hold it and make you work a little bit here, buddy.
I got just rocks in there.
I know, it's tough. Hey, listen, what a great race. You know, yesterday, Tim Sebold was able to nip you at the start, and you were chasing him all day long. But today, you turned it around. You were the guy who got the whole shot, and you never looked back. But, boy, you had a lot of pressure behind you.
Well, I tell you what, yeah, Timmy got me yesterday and had me a little worried because, you know, it's kind of what happened last year. I got him in the first race, and then he was clawing back all year long. So I'm like, oh, man, not again. Another year like this. And, you know, I know he's not going to give up. He never does. I mean, he comes to the race prepared. You know, Chris, too. I don't think I've had to drive that hard in Bay City in a long time. I mean, that white boat kept creeping up in my mirrors, and it's like, come on, Chris, give me a break. But tell you what, great competitors. You know, like Chris says, we can't say enough about all the rest of the competitors that were out there, you know, braving the water of Bay City. It's just a great race, great place to race. Also want to thank the officials, Doug Ray, Monica, everybody on the judges stand, all the rescue people out there, you know, keeping us safe on the water. Our sponsor, AMSOIL, you know, I can't say enough about them. They've supported me for many years now, and it's just been a great thing for that. And congratulations to my son for his win in the Formula 2s. You know, it's great to be double winners here for the AMSOIL team, and can't wait to come back and do it again next year.
Congratulations on a marvelous day, a victory that's number 25 in your career.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
You bet. There you go, your winner this afternoon, Terry Rinker.
Congratulations.
Takes up the #1 spot.
much.
Ladies and gentlemen, winning the North American Championship trophy. And yes, and a hard-fought victory as this is probably our Put your hands together for your North American champion.
Thank you.
Put that plaque on the wall. And with all the hardware that you have, my friend.
Let's go.
You are such big trouble, Mr.
I didn't mean it.
Oh, no.
Oh, we
No,
forgot
no.
somebody.
No.
Come here, Ginger. Come here.
Tremendous field of drivers. It's been a marvelous day that turned out in the bright sunshine. Thanks for stopping by on round number 2 in our 27th edition here in Bay City. Please come and join us in 2 weeks. We're heading out to Valleyfield in Quebec. And until there, au revoir, bon voyage, so long, everybody. Thanks for coming this weekend.
In marine racing, this is known as an outboard performance craft. 18 feet long and powered by a high-performance outboard that puts out more than 250 horsepower. It weighs less than 600 pounds. While underway at speed, if it strikes a small solid object in the water, the hull will be severely damaged. If it strikes a larger solid object, it'll disintegrate. It is designed and powered to be driven in excess of 120 miles per hour. Every year, in races all over the world, men climb into the cockpits of such boats and do just that. Why?
Let's hear once again for another one of these fabulous starts. Coming up now.
These men, along with Team Mercury's 2 European circuit drivers, Englishmen Tom Percival and Roger Jenkins, both multiple record holders, all have one thing in common. Regardless of the obstacles, they go flat out to win. And again, in international races, both here and abroad, they've brought great honor to the United States. Yet, unlike other competitive sports, no racing boat driver, factory or independent, ever got rich in a cockpit. Why then do they do it? Why do they participate in what some writers have called the most dangerous sport in the world? We put that question to Team Mercury driver Reggie Fountain.
You know, I like to push myself. I really start out each day by pushing myself 4 or 5, sometimes 6 miles, always trying to better myself. I love to win. Damn, I love to win. And the more difficult it is to do, the more I enjoy doing it. I find outboard racing to be absolutely the most challenging type of racing around today, and I've tried stock car racing and track. Just look at all the different elements that have to be controlled and considered in order to win. The tremendous power of a high-performance engine, the tricky aerodynamic characteristics of the hull, and then the proximity of all those other boats around you. And the whole thing going on in a constantly changing environment where the water can be so choppy, it feels like someone is trying to tear the wheel out of my hands. Or as flat as a paved racetrack like the one I ran on at Daytona Beach, Florida. The feeling when you're out there on the water doing well over 100, it's incredible. The danger in racing is always there. I accept that, but I don't dwell on it. Once you're on the way to the starting line, you can't think about the danger anymore. If you do, you're a loser. I'm out to win.
And here is the overall winner of the Formula
Reggie Fountain and the other Team Mercury drivers are good out there. Very good. In 1978, the team walked away with every major unlimited boat racing title in the United States and many major European events as well. In outboard racing, the drivers are definitely the superstars. But like superstars in every field, the record-breaking performances they turn in depend on much more than their own skills. It also takes a lot of hard work by a lot of other people. One of those people is Jim Shunke, the Mercury High Performance Group's crew chief.
There are times like when I'm down at the shop at 3 in the morning to get the boats and gear loaded on the road. I think to myself, why am I doing this? Then, during a race, when we bring a driver in for a pit stop, and every fraction of a second counts, I know why I do it. Because me and the rest of the guys in the crew are key members of a winning team that's the best in the business, and I like that. I get a lot of satisfaction out of it.
When Team Mercury is scheduled to race, the job of the crew is to get all boats and equipment to the site in advance and begin final preparations. They check everything, make any necessary modifications, and continue peaking the engines to their top potential. As race time approaches, the tempo increases. The drivers check and recheck and begin inspecting and testing their boats. And then the man who calls the shots arrives. Gary Garbrecht, Mercury's director of racing, the team strategist.